What's going on, guys? So piggybacking off of Kieran's walkthrough of the Shiny app, I'm going to do a walkthrough of Trumedia. Each of you should have your own account through our Tread network. If you don't, please get with Nancy on that. She can get you set up with that. When you get your account and you get logged in, remember that this is only going to be Big League and AAA data. If you have guys below AAA level, use the computer that's in the data office and you can get all the data from big leagues all the way down to low A. I think you can even get rookie ball data as well. So when you get onto your own account, keep that in mind that you're only going to be looking at 2 levels. And then from there, there's these tabs at the top. The main tabs you're going to use, the main one is going to be players, but then you can do some team subsettings and some league subsettings as well. But what you want to do is make sure you're on the player tab first. And you can either keep it on batting or switch to pitching just to make sure. But from there, when you search a guy's name, and we'll stick with Bryce Wilson, find his name and click that. So what you might notice sometimes is, let's go to the player tab, it resets the batting. I type his name in, I click it, it switches back over the pitching. Sometimes it will not switch back over the pitching. And when you're on the batting tab with his name, you'll get nothing. So just make sure that you're on the pitching tab for that. And then when we look below that, the 3 main sections that you need to look at are going to be overview, game log, and pitch log. If you find yourself going to graphical splits, which I'm not saying you can't use these, but if you find yourself going there pretty frequently, feeling like you don't understand how to use these little drop downs, that's perfectly fine. I would suggest just going to the Shiny app because Kieran has a lot of this built out with those zone visuals. It's a little bit more interactive there. It's a little bit easier to look at, and obviously he's built that out so he can give you a lot more answers if things go wrong when using that. So we'll look at overview, game log, and pitch log. When you're building out your custom tables, you will be using this drop down here above the table, right? So pitch log is there, game log, same spot, and overview, you'll just have to scroll below some of the visuals here. And the visuals are really nice to have here. You can obviously take some out. Just going through this really quickly, I don't want hit chart there. Say I want pitch break chart. Pull that up, and it'll give me his movement plot for that year. If I have that sorted. So another thing to keep in mind too is this search filter at the top. What I would do is have these 3 chilling at the top at all times. You can always add more on there if you want to get more detailed, but seasons, so you can go through different seasons, MLB and all MILB on the season level, and then game type. That just keeps it to where it's pulling all the data from these specified filters, and it can get you everything. Sometimes if you don't have game type up, it will miss some data. If you have some of these off as well, or you have a different season, the preset usually is season year range, and that can get a little complicated, or it just takes up a lot of space. So just take that off and add seasons, and you can search whatever you need in here. So part of this is going to be giving you kind of just a general template of what to, how to build out your tables. But on top of this, I do think it's good to explore through all the advantages of using Trumedia, and then that's going to end up routing you towards the Shiny app to get more detailed information through that. So when we're looking at the overview tab, we'll scroll down to the bottom of where the table is. I usually don't mess with the overview table. I know Rylan has his own table customized here. I usually just keep it with some of the subset tables. So pitch types, that just gives you pitch percentage of each pitch, or pitch usage of each pitch. Pitch rates is going to give you like swing rate, miss rate, chase rate, stuff like that. And obviously you can add more if you want. Expected rate is going to give you xWOBA, expected batting average. And then you have like some exit data that gives you average EV, BABIP. You can add average launch angle is already on here. So those are already preset. And then you'll see some of these that say copy of those presets. Those typically come from when you adjust something on game log. When you're making your tables, one of the biggest rules is just make that table under the tab that you're on. right? So if you want to make a table for game log, do it on the game log tab, because they don't always transfer over to the next tab. Sometimes when you make a pitch log tab or pitch log table, it won't transfer over to game log, and then overview, game log and overview, I think, transfer over because they're pretty close to the same thing. This kind of just takes away those graphics that you just saw. So let's move on over to pitch log real quick, and I'll just show you a quick run through of kind of what to look at there. So you'll probably want to click on movement. That's going to give you pitch movement by pitch, and then from there you're going to have to make some adjustments. So I do think the preset doesn't give you, induce vertical break, horizontal break. It just gives you release point, release X, and release Z. Release Z is height off the ground, and obviously release X is going to be release side. From there, click on the little pencil, and then you can make the adjustments however you want, right? So for me, I would probably take out some of the stuff here on the side. You don't need break angle. You don't need any of the axis locations for the plate. So you can take that out, and then what you'll end up with is this drop down on add stats. If you want to add induce vertical break, you can add that. Horizontal break, add that. And because it's pitch by pitch, you don't necessarily need to split vertical approach and horizontal approach by zone. So you can just do vertical approach angle, and then add horizontal approach angle. And then because release point's already there, if say you want to add extension as your third point, you can add that in as well. So once you're there, rename it. We'll just go pitch log testing and save it. And you can always edit that whenever. You just got to click on that again. You can add stats, take stats out, and then just make sure you click save afterwards, or it's not gonna keep its spot. So, all right. So now I have all those added, but now they're kind of in a weird spot, right? And velo's all the way over here. I have movement numbers here, vertical approach and horizontal approach there, extension. So what you can do while you're editing that is just slide it over to each spot that you want it. So you might have to kind of scroll over, but prefer to have velocity close to the movement profile. And these are just preferences for me, but this does make it a lot easier to look at. And then you can put those numbers wherever you want. I think for me, I have a drop down of pitch log, and it has the normal presets at the beginning, and then movement profile, release tilt, and brake tilt. And that's something that Kieran went through in his walkthrough. And then I have vertical approach angle, the pitcher and batter, which is already a preset there, pitch type, pitch result, and then horizontal approach angles here on the side, and then the release points. So I try to simplify it as much as possible. Once you get to game log, because game log is going to be an average of all pitches, that's when you will have to, if you want to add the vertical approach angle by zone, you'll have to make some adjustments there. And typically when you add that, from what I've seen from other people's accounts, if I want to add vertical approach angle like bottom third, VAA bottom third's there, it's already built out by Rylan and it's shared, so you should be able to click that and then sort it or move it over wherever you want on your table. So makes it simple. If it's not on there, just let me, Kieran, or Rylan know, and we can show you how to make that filter there. I'll just show you how that filter tab looks. So when I want to edit this, I want to create a stat, you can go in and type a stat equation, and then you have to adjust some of the labels and filters. So you can like add a filter. So if I want to do VAA, what I can do is just do so I do vertical approach angle, and then I can do it by zone. So if I do zone, I do in rulebook zone, and then upper third. So that's going to be the top third of the zone. Insert filter, make sure that you have it as decimals, and then you can save. So you can create those filters yourself, or if they're already shared with you from Ryland's account, you can use that as well. So that's pretty straightforward on Trumedia. A little secret for live data: all big league games are live. So what you can do there is go to scores, click on the game that is live at that moment, and it takes probably, anywhere from like a couple minutes to 10 minutes to update at a time. But from there, same process. You can go into standard, whatever you want. I have movement live. I already have this labeled for this specific page. So I have all this preset there, and I can go through and see guys live. So that's where, if you see somebody tweeting a video while the game's going on and they have all the movement, they either have it from this or they have it from the MLB tool. So this is an easy way to get that. Any questions regarding the preset filters, any questions regarding maneuvering through all the tabs, please let me know. But this is just a general walkthrough for you. It is going to be beneficial just to go through and kind of play around with the filters and the tabs, and get to understand how you can kind of manipulate the things within Trumedia and go from there.